Welcome, guys. So, in our series of Oracle database, we are today talking about the materialized views. What are these? So, we already know the view. What a view is. View is a s- output, our desired output from a table. We can uh, take columns of a few tables or a single table and get that out columns in a particular view so that we'll get the output our desired out. We do not want those much extra columns from two or three tables. We want only desired columns to view so that our output will be okay and it is more uh, as per our requirement. So those are the views. But what a materialized view? It is also simple to that, but it's very much useful to them. Okay, so what it is? It is a table segment whose contents are periodically refreshed based on a query. This is also like view, but its contents are periodically refreshed. We can decide when the contents are going to refresh or not, or how we want them. So either against a local time or a local or a global table. We can, if you are sitting in a US and you want the you have some um, server in India and you want the all if it's very difficult for you to uh, access the data in the US and then uh, from India. It's very difficult if you are if you have some more queries on uh, a server in the India and you want to access all those rows, if that has a trillion of data, a table has trillion of rows and you want to access those rows in India, that will be very costly as per database. So what we can do, we can create a materialized view in India based on the table of US, and then we can access this materialized view for accessing all the data, and we can do all our things in here. So this is the usefulness of this materialized view. So it is a physical copy of a data resulting from a specific query or set of queries. Okay, so stored in a separate table. We are creating a separate table for this, which we call materialized views. So these views are used to improve query performance by reducing the amount of data that needs to be retrieved and providing a pre-aggregated or pre-joined data. Like we created a table view based on our query, and we'll get everything based on our pre-computed. Once view is updated from the data what we have in our real table, then we can just get the data from view. So example, if we have a table where we have 1 million rows based on uh, per year sale. We have sale of 1 year in million of records there are, and if we want to retrieve the data for only current year, and in the table we have records of 10 or 15 years or maybe more than that, so it's very difficult for a database or as per the CPU resources that will query the whole big table all time. So what we do, we can create the MV materialized view. This can reduce our computing cost because we already fetch out the result of 1 year into this materialized view, and then we can access that view only. So that will decrease the load on the main table, and also uh, a view can be accessed very easily. It is not taking so much CPU resources. So instead of querying all rows, now we are querying only few rows of a particular year. So materialized view uh, can be created with two options. We can create that immediate, like once we have while we have executing the script for that materialized view, it will be created at that same time. And another one is deferred. This is the materialized view gets populated on the first requested refresh. Like once when we want to uh, refresh the materialized view, we have decided some time. We'll discuss the time and the later state in our next slides, but just telling you in brief that if that is the data in materialized view will be fetched when we have first requested. Okay, so we talked about here what are the materialized view build options. Like once is immediate and deferred. And immediate, with an immediate and deferred both, the refresh options are, there are one, two, three options are refreshed for uh, refreshing the data in the materialized view. Like the master table is getting updated every second, and 1,000 rows in a minute. So we do not want materialized view will be updated all the time when a master gets updated. So we can choose any of these options so that our materialized view will be refreshed, so that it will get the uh, data as we have in the master table. So when creating materialized view in Oracle, you have several build options as well as refresh options for them to consider based on your specific requirements and preferences. So here are some refresh options. Complete refresh. This is the default option, and it rebuilds the entire materialized view from scratch. Like um, uh, if we choose complete refresh, then no matter if we have no matter if we have only one row updated in the master table, if we choose complete refresh, then the materialized view will be uh, getting all the data from first row to the materialized view again. It will not just update the uh, one single row which was updated, but it will update all the rows. So this option provides the most up-to-date data, but can be time consuming as it is updating all the rows, like thousands of rows again in the materialized view. So and uh, it is resource intensive, especially for large data sets, like where we have thousand and trillions of row. In that case, this is very costly. We do not want this in that scenario. Another one is fast refresh. But for if we have a smaller data, like uh, 1,000 rows only, and we want that view to be refreshed once in a month or once in a week, so we can consider this option that in that case, because by that we'll be able to fetch the all the rows. Like if there may be some updates deletes in that query as well, and that table as well, so this will be uh, feasible in that situation. But for large databases, large tables, that is not required, or this is not recommended. So another one is fast refresh. This option updates only the changed data. Like we can call it as incremental refresh as well. Okay, so making it much faster than a complete refresh. Yeah, that's it. Because complete refresh is updating all the rows from 1 to 1,000, and it just only updating the 1,000 one or two rows, or which whatever the rows which are updated from the last refresh. So it will this is very fast. Fast refresh relies on materialized view logs. So for this we have following logs. So for those logs are called materialized view log table, which keep track of the changes made to the underlying tables. And this log, materialized view log, is keeping track of the, if we have created the materialized view for a table, Then this table view log will be updating all the rows which are up, all the updates for that table, and using that these logs, our materialized view can be updated. Okay, so fast refresh is suitable when the underlying data changes frequently and you want to update the materialized view with minimal overhead. So this is required when we have so much changes in our database tables, and we also want our materialized view to be updated as soon as it is getting the data. So this is required in that case. Another one is force refresh. It can be useful when there are issues with fast refresh due to unsupported query features or data inconsistencies. This is also the this also does the fast refresh first, then it goes for complete refresh. But uh, if it does not go for fast refresh, then it uh, go for complete refresh. First, it is looking for fast refresh only. So force refresh is a combination of both. So this option forces a complete refresh of the material even if the setup of fast refresh. So if we set up for fast refresh and we use force refresh, so it goes for complete refresh like this. However, force refresh is slower compared to fast. Yeah, that is slower because it is first looking for uh, fast refresh. We do not have the uh, only this thing defined. We are checking for this thing and then it goes for complete refresh. So fast refresh is very much required and recommended in all the cases, but we can use this as well but once when we are not sure that our what our tables is doing. Okay, we can trigger the refresh in two ways in a table while creating the materialized view, or while on commit and on demand. Like once we commit a transaction in a database, our materialized view will be updated. And another thing is when we demand, like once in a week, once in a month, we can use this on demand refresh. So we'll be talking about this refresh fast. We talked about this fast refresh. So for this option, we use must use materialized view logs. This is also called incremental refresh. Okay, the data is refreshed only for rows which have changes. Okay, so the data in materialized view will be changed only for those rows which are changed. So can be created based on master tables. Master materialized views only cannot be created for uh, like slave or which are not on the views, master slave views or other views indexes, though we cannot create this. MVs are not eligible for fast refresh if the defined subquery contains an analytic function like sum or greater than equal to those. We cannot create this. So for creating the logs for fast refresh, we can use this create materialized view log on the table on which we are using for creating materialized view. We need to create the view log on both on the tables. Like if we are using three tables in our materialized view query, then we need to create the materialized view log on those three tables. And if we are using the primary key in those tables, 1 2 3 and tables, so we can use the option with primary key. If we are not using the primary key, then we can use with row id and including new values. So this is how we do it. Okay, so let's go to the lab and see it. Okay, so this is let me clear the screen. Okay, so let's connect to another user. Okay, so let's first, I have already told you the line size in my previous video. So let's see if there are materialized views in our database or not. Oops, I forgot S. Okay, so we do not have a materialized view in our database right now. Okay, so what we can do, first we are going to create tables on which we are creating the materialized view later. So let me, okay, table name is already used by existing object. Oh, maybe that's, okay, so this is already created. Oh, we have okay, set head on. I believe we have, for our last query we have created set this head off so that we are not getting these headers earlier. Okay, so I have already created this table sales, and now another call table is product. Select star from product. Let's see. Okay, so this is also there, 6 rows. Okay, we have already created it. This is the script for this. If you can want, you can get it. We are taking the default sales date is sys date when we have entered this data, and end time when we have when we will enter the order, then we'll then this column will be updated to the current date. And this is not null, like we can do anything based on your requirement. I'm just showing you. And we have granted a table space to this table space tbs1. Okay, so this will be all data for this table will be getting into tbs1 table space. Okay, so let's query what we have in our data. Okay, so you see we have this, we are getting the data from both the tables. We have joined them on few parameters, sales state, order id, and product name from another table, product name. Okay, so now we want to do the materialized view. So what we are using here, create materialized view. We have here on commit function. We are using on commit here. We are not using on demand. On demand will be discussed later, but here we are using on commit. We are create materialized view, the materialized view name, build immediate, like it will be build immediate once we have create this, execute this script, the view will be created that way at that time. Refresh, we are using force here. It will be fast and complete and thing. We are using force here. And on commit, we are using on commit, like once we have commit the data, then it will be the materialized view will be activated, and it will update the data in the materialized view. And then the same query which we have already get. Okay, so let's create this, create materialized view. Okay, so this is created. So now let's see. You see, we got all these things from this view now. Okay, let me create this on demand as well. We have used on commit, and this is on demand. I'll tell you the difference in some time. Let me first create this. Okay, so this is also created. We, all the things are same, but just we have used on demand here. In earlier we have used on commit. Okay, so I'll tell you the difference now. So let me create this, insert a new row in our sales table. We have used, in our sales table we have 9 rows, 9 orders, and now I'm adding one more row. Okay, so one row is added. inserted. So if I use this, will not see anything. Like, you see, it's still showing 9. But if I commit this, let me show the data from second as well. Both use on demand and on commit. Both are showing 9 right now. Okay. So if I commit this, okay. So now if I query on demand, not on demand, on commit. Okay. If I do this on commit, you see the 10th row is here. So after the complete, the 10th row gets populated in sales MV on commit. Okay. So let's see the another one on demand. Let me query the on demand materialize view. You see, it still shows the till the order ID 9. Why? Because we haven't demanded the materialized view to be refreshed. So how we do it? For the materialized view for on demand, we can use execute dbms mview dot refresh and then the materialized view name. Okay, so if I execute this now, then the materialized view will be refreshed, and then we will get the, see, already 10 is here now. So this is the difference between on commit and on demand materialized view. Until we demand this to be refreshed, that won't be refreshed, and on commit will be refreshed only when we have commit the changes. So this is the difference between these two views. Okay, so the another one we were talking about, uh, the refresh fast option. We have talked about refresh force. We can be anything refresh fast and refresh complete. Anything can be here. But if we want to do refresh fast, we need to first create the materialized view logs on the tables for which we are getting the uh, which we have included in our uh, script. And in our the creation of these tables, we are not using any primary keys. We are not using any primary keys. So we are here using with row id. We are not using primary key, so we are using with row id. We are creating materialized view log on sales table first, because we are in our materialized view query, we are using sales and product table. Okay, so i'm using I'm creating log on first sales table. Okay, so okay, this view is already existing. I have already created it like the tables. Okay, so this is already we have it. Okay, so this may be we also may have it this as well. Okay, so let me create this materialized view. Materialized view on demand. We are using on demand here, and we are using here refresh fast. Like refresh fast depends on the logs, and logs we have already created for both tables sales and product already. Okay, so let's see if we let me query the our view first. Okay, as I have already told you. Oh, okay, maybe I haven't told you. For if we are using the refresh fast option, okay, we using row id. When we are using row id in refresh fast, if we are using primary key, then not this case. But if we are using row id, then we need to include the row id of columns, one table and another table, as both tables, all the tables which we are using in our script. Okay, if we are using two tables here, so we are using the row id of sales table and row id of uh, product table. If you are using three tables, then we will be using row ID of three tables. So here we are using a row ID for both tables, and the rest of data is same. For like until we have 10, we are getting this. Okay, refresh fast. First, it will go for refresh fast, and then complete refresh. Refresh force will be refresh fast will be depending on the view logs. Okay, and we have used on demand here. So let's see if we add some rows in it, what is going to happen. Okay, so I have added one more row in our sales table, and let's see what we have in our view, materialized view for refresh fast. You see, we are we are still showing 10 till order ID 10. We have added order ID 11, but we are still showing this view is still showing order ID 10 because we have used on demand here. So we need to demand this table, this view to be refreshed. So refreshing it, sales RF MB. We are using sales RF MB. Let me, okay. So this is completed. Now let's query. You see, now we are getting 11th row here as well. So for on demand, we need to tell the database this time, this is the time you can refresh that view, materialized view. Okay, so you can also do set the timing so that that will be refreshed by its own. So to set the timing in materialized view, it will be refreshed by its own at a scheduled time. For setting a time for 30 minutes, you can use this +1, and no, for +30 you will be using +30 here. Okay, and for if you want your view will be refreshed once in a week after 7 days, so you will use start with sysdate, next sysdate plus 7. After 7 days it will be refreshed. Okay, so this is just the simple, but I'm just using build immediate. It will be immediate, build immediately. Refresh fast we are using, as it will be based on materialized view logs we have created earlier, and we are using on demand, will be demanding it, and the demand is will be scheduled automatically with this start with sysdate, and next sysdate is +1. This is for 1 minute, like we are using 24 into 60 and divided by 1, so it will be refreshed every minute. Okay, so let me create this. This is created. Okay, so let's see how much data we have in it. It is showing till 11. What is the time? 3:22. Let's try to add something and then commit. Okay, 3:22. After 3:23 it will be updated. You see, we are still showing 11 rows. We have added 12, but it's not showing because 1 minute is not completed here. So let's see, 3:23. On 3:24 will be this view will be refreshed and will be seeing the updated data. It's not. Let's wait for a few seconds or more. This is very much easy, like row IDs materialized view will be very cost effective in terms of database. Views are very always useful. and materialized view, this can be created on different destinations as well. Okay, so 324. Okay, you see, this is refreshed after 1 minute. So this is how you can schedule the refresh of your materialized views. Like you can refresh it once in a week, once in a month. You can use 6 days plus 6 days plus 30, so that it will be refreshed after 30 days. Okay, so this is how you use the materialized views. So thank you, and we'll be talking in our next video.